Hello and welcome to Birdeye Live, the show dedicated to the digital transformation of local businesses everywhere. I am your host, Justin Meredith, and join me as we learn from industry experts about the how and the why for taking your business online and claiming the most valuable real estate on the internet, that first page of Google. Now, thank you all for tuning in. We have a great episode planned for you today. And to kick things off, I'd like to introduce to you today's guest, Abhishek Iyer. He is the Senior Product Marketing Manager for us here at Birdeye, and he is back for his second appearance on Birdeye Live. And welcome, Abhishek. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. I think this might be our first live stream that we've done on a Thursday. Normally our Birdeye Lives are on Tuesdays, but we thought we'd try to mix things up and see if maybe we can capture some more people today. So I'm really excited about today's topic. But before we jump into it, it's been a while since your last appearance. I think the last time you were on was later last year. So can you share with us a little bit about yourself, your experience, and how you got to Birdeye for maybe some of those who haven't had a chance to get to know you yet?
Sure thing. So, I've spent just over a decade in the technology marketing space. I've worked across a range of companies, and throughout this time, I had been following Birdeye and I had been a fan of some of the amazing tools that Birdeye had to offer for marketers like myself. So, when the opportunity presented itself to be a part of Birdeye, it was really a no brainer for me. So, I grabbed it with both hands.
Awesome. Well, I mentioned the last time that you joined us was back in late last year or November of last year. And in that stream, we were previewing our Reviews to Revenue Masterclass series. And that was a really fun series because that was a 4-part series on how to build, manage, and grow an online reputation management strategy. And in those webinars, we covered the importance of monitoring customer feedback and how it's so important to stay on top of what people are saying about your business. And so my first question for you today is, can you dig into that just a little bit more for us? What's the value of monitoring your customer feedback beyond just looking at your star rating?
Absolutely. So, star rating, of course, it is extremely important. But if you think about it, it is just one of the components of customer feedback, right? So, star rating is the part of the customer feedback that you use to signal to the outside world to say that, hey, look at this. Our existing customers are saying great things about us. Why don't you try us as well? So that's the external signaling part of the customer feedback. But if you think about it, there is this whole hidden data trove within customer feedback that you can use to improve your products and services and gain a competitive edge and attract more customers. So that's the part of customer feedback that is for internal use that companies often don't pay attention to. And that is what I would say is, in more cases, more important than your reviews and ratings in some cases. So to give you an example, you can use your customer feedback to understand the sentiment behind all of those reviews and ratings. And reviews is just one of those channels, right, that you look at for customer feedback. You might be running surveys, or you might be posting on social, and you might be getting hundreds of comments on your social posts on a daily basis. So how do you make sure that you are on top of all the things that your customers are saying about you across all of these channels? How are you identifying some of the top trends and sentiments that lie behind the customer feedback that is coming across all of these channels? So to give you an example, let's just take reviews, right? So it is possible that, let's say for example, you are a restaurant business, and say a pizza chain, everyone likes pizza, right? So say you are getting 5-star reviews consistently, and customers are fans of your pizza. But however, when you look at the reviews, you are seeing that, although they are all 5 stars, there is this trend where, most of these reviews say that your pizza is oftentimes, not as warm as people would like it to be. So if you just looked at the star rating, you will never be able to identify this trend and do anything about it. But if you looked at the customer feedback in a holistic way, you might see that there is an opportunity, for example, to use, say, insulated bags, or give your delivery person some additional gear to make sure that your pizza reaches everyone as hot as it's meant to be, right? So that's the value of looking at customer feedback beyond just the star rating and reviews, is what I would say.
Interesting. And so I think, when it comes to monitoring, or when I imagine, if I'm a local business monitoring my reviews, this seems, like a no-brainer to do. And it seems fairly easy if you have one or maybe two locations. So you only have one business profile, one Google profile bringing in reviews, or you have one social media account. But what about, and I can see this getting really complicated really quickly if you're a business with like a lot of locations. So like, let's say you're a business or a company that has over 100 different locations. How do you manage that?
Well, unfortunately, it is extremely tough, next to impossible for you to do this manually if you have, more than even 3 or 4 locations. Uh, Even if you have 1 or 2 locations for that matter, but you get, say, hundreds of customers on a daily basis, say like a busy retail store or a restaurant, even then it becomes extremely tough. And in these cases, you will more often than not need a software tool to manage customer feedback for you across channels, across customer profiles, because otherwise it's just going to take you multiple hours a day to monitor everything. And I'm pretty sure that business owners have more important stuff to take care of. So that's why we would strongly recommend people looking to streamline their customer feedback across channels to invest in a customer experience analytics software that can help businesses make sense of feedback.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine, and I think the more locations you have, the more important that feedback and the data that you get from that can be, especially if you want to keep your brand consistent across every location. This is a great, being able to know exactly what each customer is saying at the location level can be super, super valuable. And so, Birdeye does a little bit of this. And can you elaborate more on how that works?
Absolutely. So we have this great tool called Birdeye Insights, which does all of these things and some more of what I already spoke about. So Birdeye Insights is basically a customer experience analytics software that helps businesses enhance their customer experience by giving them actionable insights from customer feedback across reviews, surveys, social messages, and whatnot. Using this, businesses can make smarter and faster decisions by uncovering insights from all this unstructured customer data that they are getting across channels. If they have hundreds of locations, like you mentioned, Birda Insights will give them the opportunity to hold all of their locations to a high and a uniform standard, which is what a business would want, which is to ensure consistent experience across locations. And last but not the least, it also helps businesses gain a competitive advantage by benchmarking their businesses against the local competition that they are bothered about.
Okay. So can you dig into that a little bit more about the benchmarking?
So, benchmarking is basically customer feedback monitoring, but for your competitors. So, the things that you are keeping a track of for your own customers, you can do the same thing for your competition, right? So, look at what your competitors' customers are saying on their reviews or on their social posts, and based on that, you have a chance to, stand out against the competition. So, let's take the same pizza example, right? Say you are a pizza chain and you have a competitor who again is offering great pizzas, for example, but their pizza also tends to be cold. Or let's take a different example. Maybe they don't add enough olives, for example, uh, on their pizzas, and that is causing problems for their customers. So maybe you can run an offer saying, hey, buy our pizza, you'll get as many olives as you want. So it's stupid example, but this is something that you can do with the benchmarking tool. And if you can benchmark your business against the competition and look at the trends from their customer feedback as well.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how that could be an absolute game changer. Because if you're in a business that might have similar competition, and you being able to understand what your competition does well and doesn't do well, can really arm you with with data to fix that. So you can capitalize on their weaknesses, but you can also analyze your own feedback, like we were just saying, and identify your own weaknesses or your own strengths. So if fast delivery is something that people say, like, oh my gosh, they deliver my pizzas fast every single time, it's great, then you can capitalize on that and advertise it and say we have extremely fast delivery. And I think as you compare it with your competitors, that just I don't know, it's just one of those things that I think is such an invaluable thing, because how else are you going to be able to get that kind of insight on your competition, because they're not going to offer it to you, but you can actually hear and see what their customers are saying about them. And so especially, I think this is one of those things that it takes a little bit of elbow grease, but how does Birdeye make that part easy, so to speak? Like, yeah. So what exactly goes into implementing Birdeye insights and benchmarking? Is it a simple setup and then all of a sudden you're collecting all this super valuable data, or is it something that you have to add in manually? How does that part work?
Sure. So the setup is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is, just add all of your locations, which you already do when you implement Birdeye. You add in the categories that matter to you as a business. So, like you said, maybe the quality of the pizza or the speed of the delivery, or say the parking facilities. How was the staff courteous or not? Things like that. And that's pretty much it. So based on that, Birdeye has an AI platform called Athena. It will automatically uncover insights from all of your customer feedback across channels and automatically categorize across these preset categories that you're fed within Birdeye. You will easily get sentiment analysis, both positive and negative. You will understand what are the most commonly occurring keywords or snippets in your customer feedback. So again, if cold pizza is occurring more often than not, it gives you a chance to take corrective actions and make sure that that is a problem that is solved. And you can also look at all the locations and see how they are doing vis-a-vis, like compared to each other, and also against the set benchmarks that you have for each of those locations. And last but not the least, again, you have the same things available for your competitors as well. So again, on the same categories that you have said, you can compare yourselves against the competition. And like you said, if you're better than the competition, you can use that to your advantage, maybe run a marketing campaign on that. And wherever you are seeing that there is room for improvement, you can make sure that the message is passed on to the respective locations, and make sure that those problems are solved, so that you don't fall behind when it comes to some of your key competitors in the area.
Wow. And so you said that you can customize the keywords, or like kind of those key phrases as well. So I think a good example, the first thing that popped into my head, and we'll just stick with the pizza example because that's like all I'm thinking about now. It's almost lunch. So like let's say you're a pizza chain and you are you make kind of this big decision to adjust your sauce recipe. And a few months go by and you're trying to figure out if people like the sauce more or less. And so you can actually use Athena to identify, hey, bring me all the customer feedback that talk about our sauce. And then it can give you a sentiment score
Absolutely.
about how those people feel about that. Wow. That's just an incredible, capability. And I think being able to see that kind of insight can allow you to make so much smarter decisions too. And nothing is really a gamble because you know exactly what your customers are saying. Well, this is crazy. And so, using the insights and the benchmarking tools in tandem absolutely can level up your online strategy. And this takes reviews way beyond just the star rating and just trying to get your average stars up. But Abhishek, where can we learn more about this? Is there anywhere that we should, is there anywhere we can send the audience to go learn more?
Well, for starters, I think we've just published an amazing guide, which is called the Experience Driven Marketer's Guide to NLP. I would highly encourage everyone to check that out. Having said that, I mean, in the last few months, the world seems to have, gone to the next gear, right, when it comes to AI. There have been so many advances, and I personally am so excited about these advances. And I can tell you for a fact that, we are not going to fall behind. We are right on track in keeping up with those changes and incorporating some of those amazing, in progress that has happened on AI. So I would encourage everyone to keep a lookout for some of the exciting updates that we have in store when it comes to AI, because I can confidently say that we have just scratched the surface of all the possibilities that come with deploying AI. And whatever I've said so far is something that we already offer. And I can't wait for some of the updates to hit the market, because they are going to take insights and benchmarking to the next level.
Yeah, I'm actually super pumped for this, and it is crazy because with this wave of AI that has kind of hit the world in the past 6 months, this is something Birdeye. We're no strangers to the AI space. Athena has been around since before the launch of ChatGPT, to the main world, and I think whenever this kind of AI explosion happened, we were already at the forefront of it, doing these things. And now with all these extra capabilities coming out, we're going to be able to do even more. So we're just building on the AI capabilities that we've already had. And, and this is going to be, and I think it's going to be a hot topic for a while. I think it's here to stay. And that's why next month, we're actually going to be doing a webinar with a live panel of SEO experts, because we are going to start talking about how AI is going to impact your SEO. With the rise of the AI generated content, people are able to write blogs more quickly. They're able to come out with all kinds of different photos and images and videos at the speed of light with AI. And so we're going to talk about how that's going to affect your SEO. We're going to discuss how to use AI generated content to help your SEO efforts in the right way. Not just throwing up a bunch of content out there and hoping some of it sticks, or, hopefully, a search engine doesn't tag it as something that it shouldn't be. So we're going to talk about how to use AI generated content. We're going to talk about Google's feelings around it. We're going to touch on a little bit about their, the search engines and things like that, but we've got a lot coming up. And so we should have the links promoted, the links to the webinar and to that guide that you had mentioned, Abhishek, in the comments. So be sure to check that out. The webinar is on May 11th. It's going to be with an SEO experts, Ben Fisher, Steve Wiedemann, and Lily Ray. And it's going to be a great time. I'm really excited for it. This panel that we've compiled are just absolute rock stars in the SEO space. And if anybody's going to be able to give you clarity on how to move forward with your SEO strategy in this new era of AI, it's going to be these guys here. So be sure to register and check that out. And be sure to check out the Experience-Driven Marketer's Guide to Natural Language Processing. That's a really, really great read as well. And thank you, Abhishek, for joining us today and for all this great info. It looks like we're reaching the end of our time today, but I really appreciate you coming on. We're going to have you again on soon. I don't want it to be another 6 months like last time, so I'll be reaching out sooner than that. And yeah, it was a pleasure to have you on again.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Remember to check out the Experienced Marketer's Guide to Natural Language Processing and register for that webinar. And be sure to follow us here on LinkedIn and on YouTube so that you don't miss any more of our upcoming live streams. We have a ton of great topics coming up. We've got another one coming up next Thursday where we are going to talk about how to use surveys, which is a different kind of customer feedback, to get more value, more detail, more direct feedback from your customers, and how you can use that to expand your online strategy and improve your business. So you don't want to miss that. So be sure to follow us. But until next time, we will see you on the next episode of Birdeye Live.